Hi, this is Rufus Miller, and we're listening to Sonic Perspectives. I hope you enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interview of Sonic Perspectives. I'm Rodrigo, and today we are honored to speak with Mr. Rufus Miller. Rufus, thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Rodrigo.
Let me start by asking you, how's the COVID situation where you are right now?
So I'm in London. It's pretty strict, but I think come May 22nd, we're looking at doing concerts again. So we are getting some positive projections of what's going to happen.
Oh, wow. That's great to hear. I think there's other places like in the US where concerts are starting to happen again. So that's a good sign for sure.
Yeah, I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Well, aside from not being able to tour for the most part last year, how has this pandemic affected you? Did you manage to put a positive spin on it or not?
I've been very lucky because I actually spent a lot of time with my sister, who I've worked with a lot. Of course, she's my sister, Misty Miller, and I ended up being stuck in London with her at her place. So what did we do? We wrote loads of songs together. We went and played all the time in the park predominantly. She actually has an album coming out with songs that we recorded.
Oh, wow.
And I've just been I suppose like most musicians, I've been busy recording and also reconnecting with my roots, I suppose.
Understood. And our website focuses on all kinds of music, but primarily metal and prog. I'm a Sting fan, so that's why I connected with you. But for the benefit of our audience who might not be familiar with your work, tell me how you got started in music.
Okay, yeah. So, just to start off, I'm a big metal and prog fan.
Nice.
So that's very cool. I got really into music aged like 7. I started writing songs and being very confident with it, and then playing guitar then. And my dad's, of course, a musician, so I was incredibly inspired. And then the starting point for me was, I guess I really wanted to play love songs, which is kind of weird, but that was me 7. But I also loved grunge music. I loved what was coming out on MTV, like Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden. It didn't look like it was that hard to play. And it seemed fresh and it spoke to me. So that's the first things that I wanted to play when I picked up the guitar, and it wasn't too hard to pick it up.
Right. And so how did you become involved with Sting's band?
So I think that really came about because he probably was quite aware of the work I was doing with my sister, Misty. This is about 9 or 10 years ago, 2011.
Okay.
So he asked me to join just to see how it went, and it went really well. And I ended up doing 2 legs of a tour. I kind of hoped I'd do more, but it was 2 legs of a tour, so it's like 4 or 5 months. And I wasn't replaced with another guitar player. I was replaced with the great David Sanchez, who's played in the band for years.
Oh, wow.
So keyboard player. So it didn't hurt my ego too much. But then he asked me to rejoin, I think about 5 years ago now. So it's almost 5 years ago. So it's pretty amazing that I've managed to stay this long this time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess the initial connection is my dad. But I think Sting's probably quite aware of a lot of the stuff I was doing in London, and maybe likes my sound, my style.
Yeah. I wonder what it's like to start a career, or to have such a jump in your career with such a well-established act. You may have freaked out, I don't know, with such a huge crowd in your show, or not.
Where I think I'm lucky is because my dad's been in the band since I was 5.
Oh,
Sting never really, he just seemed like my dad's boss. I still see him through like a child's eyes, like, oh yeah, Sting. And I'm like a music nerd, right? But I purposely didn't really study Sting or the Police.
Okay.
Or, it was more a background, like that's what my dad does. So to come into it, I think I had quite a fresh, confident perspective. I think it felt very much like family. And also I'd studied just about every musician that played with Sting, because
Wow.
I'd meet them and I knew them, and most of them were pretty much obscure jazz musicians who were
Right.
given a huge opportunity. So I figured like, yeah, in a similar way, he was plucking me from obscurity, but I knew how to stay grounded, I suppose. And also I had all the advice from my dad to do a good job, basically what Sting and him expected in me as a musician. And
Right.
I really focused and made sure I did my best.
Understood. And I've seen Sting many times, and one thing I noticed is that he changes the arrangement of many songs, sometimes mid-tour, sometimes from one show to the next. Is that a difficult process for you? I mean, sometimes the arrangements are completely different.
It keeps you on your toes, because every sound check is like a long rehearsal. And then
Right.
he'll always make changes. So like if you're just phoning in your performance every night, he'll catch you out. He wants to see you sweat.
Right.
And he'll random, like a good teacher would, he'll be like, right, what are you playing on this song? And then you'll be like, in a nice way, you know. And then you'll be like, oh, this. And he's like, not sure about that. And also, let's change the key. Let's change the arrangement. Let's do it differently. Are you listening? Are you present? And then you're forced to stay present, really. And it's a good method to keep his musicians like on their toes.
Well, I can see how that might be unpleasant for some people or some musicians that work with him, but you're right, it keeps things fresh for sure. Yeah. At the same time, like we said, you're establishing a career slowly but surely, and you already have 2 solo albums under your belt. What is your vision as an artist? I mean, do you want to become just a solo artist eventually, or do you think of it in that way or not?
Well, I started as a solo artist, I suppose, like most guitar players, and I always tried to push it. I think when I was 17, I was really going for it. But then you just join bands, don't you? So I just joined band. And living in London, I could be in so many bands.
Yeah.
But it got to the point, I guess, around the time I had turned 30, where I was like, you know what? Like, if I leave it too late, I might miss the boat with this.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd sort of work towards it. And then by the time I guess I was 33, I managed to record it and have it out just as I liked it. And I managed to get another one out pretty soon after. For me, it's, you know, I don't get massive numbers on Spotify, but I like that my peers and fellow musicians know what I do. And that Sting fans know what I do. For me, it's like almost like a business card. You know, it's not like I'm trying to be famous. I just think it's important for fans of Sting or people that are interested in my sound to just kind of know what I'm all about, rather than just being the son of Dominic Miller and guitar player to all these different bands. It was good to go, look, this is what I do. You know, it's important for me, for my confidence. It's done massive amount. So I'm glad I finally got to do it.
Right. And your album Make It was released last year. It's quite a step up from Popsicle, which kind of went everywhere stylistically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, thanks. I appreciate that you see it like that. I really realized with the first album that I was genre hopping too much. It was becoming quite difficult for people to really get into it and know what I was about. So I figured on the next one, I try and focus on more a sound and a style and a way of recording, more acoustic driven. And I'm really pleased I did that. It gives me a great place to go for the next album, you know?
Are you recording a new one already, or?
Yeah, well, I've been working a lot with my sister, so her next album features me quite heavily.
Okay.
I also got asked to do a soundtrack where we write songs for a film or a series. We're not quite sure what it's going to be yet. And it's super dark and heavy, super heavy. Like the brief is like a perfect circle, 9 Inch Nails, Tool, you know, like make it sound like this kind of thing. Like early 2000s. So I'm super excited to let people hear that, but it might take a while, of course. But we've done an album. We've done an album in that style, in that genre.
Okay. And I find that Make It has a lot of new age influences and a lot of 90s music in it, which surprisingly translates quite well to this day and age. I don't know if you agree with that, but yeah.
I think so. I mean, I love seeing all these people doing Alice in Chains covers at the moment, and I feel like, yeah, cool. I'm happy I've got a Alice in Chains cover on my album,
Yeah, When I Die, right? Yeah. Yeah. I like how you deconstructed the song completely and turned it into something new. I didn't expect that, to be honest, but yeah, it's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I've been working on that for a long time. I
Yeah.
think if I was to do it again, I'd probably put the original bass line in. That's the only thing I missed out.
Okay.
But it's cool when you take it on a journey, right? It deviates kind of from the original.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people do that and do covers that are completely different from the original, and it falls flat. But in your case, it gave the song a new life. I believe so. So
thank you so much, man. It means a lot to me.
Yeah,
and that whole new age sound, that's from going to India a lot and hanging out with.
Oh yeah,
these going to rainbow gatherings and campfire, playing acoustic guitar, flutes, and all sorts of weird instruments. And I managed to capture that in Copenhagen. So.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'm happy that you could hear that influence
in Copenhagen, of all places.
I know, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Alice is another song that's undeniably Alice in Chains, starting with the name.
Yeah,
yeah. And I love that violin on the song. It kind of freaked me out a little bit, but it's really haunting. But really cool. It fits the song perfectly.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. So one of the last ones I wrote for the album, very sort of ad-lib, but I just loved the vibe. I thought it just glued the album together quite well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I hear a little bit of Nirvana and maybe Pixies on the album too. I don't know if you agree as well.
Yeah, tons of Nirvana. I mean, that's for me like my it's such a starting point for me. So I find it hard not to sound like them. Pixies, that's awesome, man. That means a lot to me because I'm a huge Pixies fan and no one's ever said that. So cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. What I like about it is that it's a true roller coaster. For example, when you go from an almost depressive state of Don't Leave Me Now to a somewhat happier vibe on Long Live the King, right?
Yeah.
It takes you on a journey, I think, the whole album.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's really what I wanted. I wanted it to, because that's one of the reasons I had the same song, Into the Unknown, as an unplugged version at the end. So it kind of created, we're back to the beginning, but everything's changed, I suppose I wanted it to feel a bit like shamanic, like a trip, where you go away and then you come back, like all the traditional great psychedelic albums were, like starting with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. That album, really, you're like, whoa, it's so colorful in different directions. And then you kind of end up right where you started in a weird way, the same musical motifs come back.
Right.
And I think I was sort of unconsciously probably trying to go for that.
And I heard a story about you warming up for the Sting shows playing metal songs. Can you tell me which ones at least?
Oh, what metal do I like playing?
Yeah.
Oh man, all of it. Like, the originators, Black Sabbath, I'm always playing like their riffs. I like bands like Sleep, High on Fire, Matt Pike's like an idol of mine. Death metal stuff like Obituary.
Wow.
Just like it just warms up my fingers, and I feel like when I go on stage, like I've already done like my full-on metal shit, and then I can calm down and play something a bit more gentle.
Right. Okay. So you mentioned the album with your sister, a soundtrack. Is there anything else in the works for you this year? I mean, playing live, of course, is a big thing, and I'm glad that you're going back to at least some level of normality, right? But I know Sting has a new album out called Duets. I'm assuming you're in it, right?
I'm not even sure if I'm on this one, but it's like that sometimes. Like I wasn't on the Shaggy album. Actually, the only Sting album I've been on is the My Songs one, where we kind of redo some songs. But I was happy to make it to an album. But he's quite clever like that, like he'll use different musicians for different things.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I'm predominantly his live guitar player. But I know how to play all those songs, and we'll have fun reinterpreting them for stage for sure. So it should be good. I mean, for me personally, I've got a lot of live stream gigs going on.
Okay.
One that I did last night was a huge success. Easy Come Acoustic Club, done by London Gig Weekly. And it's actually on YouTube now. It's definitely worth checking out because there's some great bands. So I'm doing a lot of these like live stream things.
Okay.
And then come, I think, October, we're all booked in to do Vegas, if that can still happen.
Oh, wow.
fingers crossed, you know, that's when the bus will start up again and I'll be there.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Toronto and I hope, you know, I keep my fingers crossed that we can have live shows soon enough. And I hope I can see you here live. So
it'd be great to meet you in Toronto, man, for sure.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah. Last but not least, what's it like to play with your dad every night? I mean, it's got to be some, you know, an interesting setup that you look on the side and there's your dad playing guitar, right?
It never gets old. It never gets old. It's just such a buzz for the two of us, you know.
Yeah.
Because we're challenging each other to play better, and no one wants to be the weak link. So we're really bringing out the best in each other.
Yeah.
And we're just so tight musically because we recognize each other's styles. And yeah, it's just really moving because, you know, it hasn't been plain sailing like most father-son relationships. So to have got to this point in my life and be doing this and give him a hug at the end of the show every night and be playful musically and to really like be a team, like, you know, brothers in arms, it's just, it's the warmest, the most amazing sensation. And I think the fans feel it too. So it's just this really amazing buzz for everyone. Like kind of it never gets old. Never ever gets old.
Cool. Well, Rufus, it's been a pleasure, man. I wish you all the best and a very productive 2021. And I hope we can reconnect soon in a live setting, I hope.
Oh, me too, man. I'm sure we will. I'm dreaming big.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, man. Have a good night.
Thanks, Rodrigo. Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.